Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Before I could reject him. Episode 4. Chapter 33. Lucian's POV. It was the second night of our stay in the cabin. Alice's heat had mostly subsided. The heat starts very intensely, then slowly subsides over time. It usually lasts 2 to 3 days, depending on how many the female wolf had. In Alice's case, she had ample. Her flushed skin and that healthy glow ascertained the fact. My wolf was happy yet pissed. He was happy that we could provide pleasure to our beautiful mate and pissed that I had not marked her yet nor made her pregnant with our pups. Standing in my doorway, however, Alice looked twitchy. She would not stop moving her eyes side to side, as though waiting for something. I stopped the dinner preparations and called out to her. "What is it, love? You look worried. We should return." "My heat is fine now. I mean, it is nothing I cannot control," she replied. "You still have the scent. Since you are an alpha, it is much stronger. It is enough to drive the pack males crazy. We'll leave tomorrow morning, what's the hurry?" "Lucian, I am just getting this strange feeling as if something bad might happen. Is it because of my cooking? I am considered a pretty decent chef," I asked, smelling the rare steak that I was plating. She laughed. "You are a wonderful chef, Lucian. Better than me." "That was something unexpected," she replied, eyeing the food. I was pleased. Feeding my mate made my wolf happy. I aim to please. No one is going to attack you here. This compound is my home, and we are perfectly safe here. Come on, let us have dinner." I spoke. She looked relieved. "You have adapted quickly to being with the pack," I said casually. "They love you and looking forward to seeing you as their Luna." She went quiet and kept her fork. "Eat, Alice," I said when she had not picked it back up in the next 10 minutes. "I can't do this anymore, I am sorry." She had suddenly broken down in sobs, her hand covering her face. I put away my fork. I knew she had been upset over something. Probably, I was pushing her too much. "Alice, look at me. Tell me what is wrong? Please. If I have hurt you, it's not you, it's me," she said through her tear-streaked eye. "I must reject you. We can't be together, I don't deserve you," she mumbled. I walked to the other side of the table and took the seat next to her. "We have been through this before, I know something's bothering you. Just tell me why we can't be together." Her impossibly long lashes turned up at me. "I have a fiancé," she whispered. "I am sorry." The anger and confusion which rumbled in me were too great to stay near her. I could not afford to harm her. I moved away and started pacing the room. Her eyes followed me like a scared kitten. "Is this some new story which you have cooked up?" I asked, though I knew she was not lying. That ring on her finger was the engagement ring. Wolves do not have engagements. We just mark our mates as soon as we meet. Weddings are mostly registered for the legal purpose to live among humans. Hence, the traditional wedding symbols have no value for us unless someone wants to wear them out of choice. "Who is he?" I finally asked. My wolf was on the edge. He wanted to rip the head off, whoever was that man. She looked terrified, and I cursed myself for my outburst. I am sorry, Lucian. I did not want to keep you in the dark, just tell me who is he. I snapped, earning another fearful look from her. Alice's POV, that is it. I had done it. Finally, managed to tell Lucian about Mark. Seeing his angry state, I knew I was royally screwed. His name is Mark Barton, I work in his company. He is human. I said softly and narrated everything. A human. And your wolf is fine with that? He asked, looking aghast. Our wolf would never let us leave our mate, especially after meeting them. All previous relationships take a backseat over the mate bond. Rejecting your mate was one of the hardest things to do. No, my wolf wants you. She hates me for what I have done. I said softly. Lana was pissed. I could feel him calming a little. In that case, I don't see any problem. You want me, I want you. We are mates. Just get rid of him. He smirked. I can't. I never wanted this life. I never wanted a mate. I cannot do this to Mark. It will not be fair. Everything was going perfectly fine until you came into my life. What about me? I am your mate. How can you leave me? Isn't it unfair to me? He asked. He was right. I was a terrible person for hurting my mate. I am sorry, I said, looking down. Why didn't you tell me this before? Why lead me on? His anger was rising again. Lead you on? Excuse me. I tried to stay away from you. I even ran away from you, but you never left, chasing me. You threatened to start a war over it. Did I even have an option? I shouted in anger. The audacity of him accusing me of leading him on broke my patience. He ran a hand through my hair. It doesn't matter anyway, we can't undo the past. You are staying with me, that is it. Get rid of that fellow before I do. High green eyes flashed with a warning. You can't be serious. Are you threatening me? Maybe. That's it. I am not going to take this nonsense anymore. I started to leave the seat. My dinner was half eaten. He was angry. I had to be away from him before he lost control. He caught my wrist and pulled me back. Stay here, I am not yet finished. But I am done. I am leaving this place and you. I said you are not leaving anywhere without my permission until we resolve this little problem. His eyes stared at that sparkling stone in my finger. His mouth, which had been kissing me senseless just an hour back, was set in a grim line. He grabbed my finger and started to pull out the ring. No. What are you doing? I screamed. Stop it, Lucian. You are mine, do you understand? He had ripped out the ring and stared at it for a few seconds. Next, he threw it across the room. It bounced off the opposite wall and disappeared somewhere on the carpet. No. What have you done? I hate you, Lucian Blake. I reject. I could not finish the sentence. He had grabbed me and covered my mouth in a searing kiss. Although I was still angry, my body reacted to the kiss and our closeness. Touching my face, he looked down at me silently. Go to bed, Alice, he said simply. I glared at him. No. I am trying to control myself, Alice, don't test my patience, just go to sleep, we'll leave tomorrow. I got up from his lap, where he had pulled me before kissing. I knew we needed to talk further, but I was uncertain if tonight was a good time for that. Lucian seemed to be holding on to his temper by a thread. The feeling of cold on my ankle and the sound of metal clinking together snapped me to attention as I lay in my half-asleep state. I sat up to see a satisfied Lucian Blake looking down at me. I looked down at my ankle and was shocked to see a silver manacle attached to a thick silver chain. Furthermore, I crawled to the foot of the bed and followed the line of the chain. It bolted to a place just underneath the bed. There was a long length of chain, so I was not necessarily chained to the bed, but it still felt like that. I was furious and looked up at Lucian in anger. How dare you? I shouted at him, you can't do this to me. Why are you doing this? Have you lost your mind? His eyes were almost glowing, and I could see he had been waiting for a fight. He glared right back at me, I need to leave, this is for your safety. Safety? I sputtered, you chained me to the floor. I yelled at him, unable to control the tone of my voice. No, I chained you in our cabin. Whether you accept it now or not, this is the punishment I have chosen for you, he said confidently. What punishment? I am rejecting you. I yelled. He chuckled, reaching out to stroke my back in what, I think, was supposed to be a calming gesture. The stubborn woman that I am, I bristled mentally at the unwanted contact, and he growled in response. You will learn, mate, that I can be very temperamental if things don't happen my way. Since you cannot be trusted to stay put, I will do it for you. Where are you going? I said through clenched teeth, keeping my head and my eyes down. I tried to distract myself. He tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. Just going for a run, I need to clear my head and calm my wolf. Take some rest, then we'll talk about how to get rid of your English boyfriend. I was livid but kept my gaze at the floor in front of me. I heard his painful howl for some time. I had broken my mate's heart. I could not stop the spate of tears forming in my eyes. I had cried myself to sleep but soon woke up to the feeling of intense heat. The kind you feel when surrounded by fire. Thick smoke choked me as soon as I opened my eyes. I was surrounded by a blazing fire. The cabin was on fire, and I was chained to the bed, unable to escape. Alice, I watched terrified as fire forked around the cabin, eating through the walls and furniture. I shifted immediately, but the manacles were too tight for my wolf feet. I could just grow claws and hair. I tried to pry off the manacles in my hybrid form, but it did not budge. Help! Lucian! I screamed. The smoke was too thick to breathe. Even with my enhanced senses, I was unable to see anything through the thick haze. It was just like 15 years back, 9-year-old me running through the fire and smoke. The feeling of utter helplessness came over me when I thought maybe Lucian was so pissed off that this was his doing. He could not be that mad at me to kill me. Tears welled up in my eyes, yanking me out of my stupor and back into the world of feeling. I heard frantic howls from outside. Then the heat, raw emotion, and pain were too much to bear, then everything turned black. Plus or minus 15 years ago plus guess what? I am staying opposite Central Park. Dad said he would take me around after the alpha meeting gets over. I said excitedly into the phone. I am so jealous, wish I could come along. I don't know why Dad did not take me along. He is your dad's beta, after all. Emma grumbled on the phone. Well, you don't know how to throw a proper tantrum. I had to give up my lunch and dinner. You love food too much. I joked. Rick was 17, and he was away on some alpha training. I had thrown a royal tantrum, refusing food and pretending to stop breathing. Forcing Dad to bring me along with him. I was proud of myself. Don't make fun of me. Emma was a chubby kid. I laughed again. After talking for a while, a sudden movement outside my hotel door caught my attention. I was too young to shift, but being a wolf pup, I had heightened senses. There was a knock. Who is it? 9-year-old me asked. We are your father's friends. He is asking for you. A gruff voice said from the other side. They were werewolves, of course, and they were not from our pack. My dad had given strict guidelines to not trust any stranger. I had read enough stories not to fall for such tricks. What's the password? I asked. Password? The voice said, puzzled, which was expected. Little girl, just open the door. Your dad will not wait for long. You want to miss the carriage ride? Another voice called. I was now enjoying it. First tell me the password, please, I repeated. There was silence for a few seconds, then a voice said. Okay, it's strawberry. I laughed, there was no password. I was simply delaying them. I knew Dad and his security would be arriving soon. I wondered where the guards were who were stationed outside my door. That's wrong, try again. I giggled. That is enough, little girl, just open the door, or we'll break it. The voice had turned menacing. They started banging on the door. I panicked, praying for Dad to arrive soon. There was a sound of shots and yapping. The door burst open and hung funnily on its hinges. Alice, come on, we need to run. I sighed with relief as Beta Jackson and others burst in. The bodies of wolves who had been trying to get me lay near the entrance. Where is Dad? I asked, panicking. He is fine, dear, just come with us, Jackson said. I nodded and caught his hand. Running through the corridors, I could see things were not fine. Groups of wolves were feuding over I do not know what. Since we were in a human territory, shifting was forbidden, but that never stopped wolf packs from fighting each other. A giant bang rocked the hotel, and suddenly a wall collapsed near me. Running blindly to avoid the dust and debris, I lost my pack members. Dad! Uncle Jackson! I cried, blinded by the dust and smoke. Wolves and humans were running all around me in terror. The giant blast was replaced by fire and smoke. Flames were slowly engulfing the building. I stopped in my track when suddenly a giant man stood right in front of me. You have caused a lot of trouble, little girl. I stared at him in panic, when a bullet whizzed past me, knocking him in his legs. Normal bullets cannot kill werewolves, only silver bullets can do the damage. since the man collapsed and cried out in pain. I knew my rescuer was a wolf. I turned back to look into brilliant green eyes. He was a boy of about 13 to 14. With messed up dark hair and glasses, he reminded me of Harry Potter. I blinked, staring at him while he held the gun which was still emitting smoke. "Hi there, don't be scared. I won't harm you," he said calmly. "Who are you?" I asked, observing him suspiciously. "Lucian Blake, my father is the Alpha of Crimson Shadow Pack, we need to hide. It's not safe here," he spoke. The roar from the injured wolf prompted me to run towards Lucian. We ran through the maze of carnage and destruction and hid in a devastated conference room. I panted leaning on the wall while he peered outside from the crook of the door. "You are hurt," I said while looking at a cut on his arm. "It's fine," shrugged. "What is going on? Why this everyone killing each other?" I said, clamping down my ears with my hand. "I don't know, maybe some kind of pack war or a rogue attack," Lucian replied. "I want my dad," I said tearfully. He turned towards me. "Hey, don't cry, I am sure your dad will find you soon enough." The way he said those words instantly made me feel better. "So, who taught you how to use a gun?" I asked. "No one, that was my first time, I just grabbed it from my dad's drawer before everything exploded." "Wow! You are a natural," I spoke. We were silent for some time. "You look like Harry Potter. Do you know?" I suddenly said. He gave me an amused look. "I guess you get that a lot," I spoke. He snorted. "Yeah, I do get that a lot. Something's happening," he said suddenly. I peered from the door. Few wolves were fighting with each other. Like a gang war. "Dad!" I blurted out, spotting my father among them. I watched in terror as my injured father fought with 3 menacing wolves. "Dad! I need to go," I was about to dart out when Lucian grabbed my arm and pulled me away. "Are you crazy? They will find us and then kill us. Stay quiet. That's my dad," I cried. "You can do nothing," he forced me to stay behind the door and clamped my mouth with his hand to keep me quiet. I watched in horror as my father's throat was ripped by one of the wolves. No! My scream was lost in another explosion. He just had enough time to cover me before a shower of debris fell on us. Then everything went quiet. A cool hand rested on my forehead. "Come on, sweetheart, let me know if you can hear me," came the masculine voice. I tried to make my head move but found that I seemed to have lost control of my body functions. I remembered vaguely reading about severe shock rendering a person in a state of semi-consciousness, where the mind works, but the body remains out of the person's control. "Alice, please open your eyes, I am sorry." I recognized the voice now. I opened my eyes and gazed into his teary green ones. They were the same eyes, though it did not belong to a little boy anymore. "Alice." "Thanks, Luna," he whispered. "It was you," I whispered. He frowned. "That boy in the hotel explosion, it was you," I said. He searched my face puzzled, then realization dawned on him. "You remember now?" "Yes, I remember you, Lucian. You saved my life." I replied. Lucian's POV. I ran through the woods. Jake was feeling morose. Our mate loves another, he said mournfully. Kill him, he hissed. I ran even further. I was away from Alice to keep her safe, from myself. I didn't want to hurt her. Suddenly, the smell of burning timber filled my nostrils. My ears twitched, then her blood-curdling scream filled my head. I dashed back towards the cabin. No, 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 no! I screamed and ran into the burning inferno. Alice had fainted, crouching near the bed. Please don't die! I shouted. Shifting into my human form, I took out the key from the hidden drawer in the bed. The key was always there, she just did not know it. I unclasped the lock and released her foot from the manacle, which was tightly bound on her ankle. She had tried to shift, but the manacles would not let her. I am sorry, Alice, I whispered before carrying her outside. I remember you now, my mate said. Lying down on the soft grass. I had mentally contacted my betas and the rangers to arrive immediately. I was glad that she was safe. If something had happened to her, I would have never forgiven myself. I am sorry, Alice, I should not have chained you. Please don't be mad at me. I pleaded. She raised her hand and grazed my face. We have met before, but I forgot you, what a shame. I was uncertain if she was in her senses or just blabbering in delirium. I caught her hand and kissed it. I'm glad you remember everything, finally. She mumbled and closed her eyes again. The sounds of veering engines announced that my betas had arrived. Alpha, what happened? Damon said as he sprinted towards me. I grabbed the sweatpants which he threw at me. Call the fire brigade and control the fire before it spreads throughout the forest. I want this entire area scanned for any trace of intruders. I need to find out who did this. I want all reports tomorrow morning. I rattled off my orders while slipping into sweats. Rouge attacks were one thing, but this was complete sabotage. I would love to rip apart whoever did this. Alpha, good to see you are fine, Savannah said as soon as I walked into my office. She was arranging my papers on the table. She had been like my private secretary for years. We had been good friends since childhood, and she had taken over the role of the alpha female until I found my mate. You don't need to do all this, Savannah, I said while collapsing on the plush chair. Last night had been hell. I like doing this alpha, service to the pack. She smiled. How is Madame Luna? She asked, cautiously. She is fine, just a little shocked, so the healer has given her a strong sedative, I replied glumly. Well, glad to know that, Savannah replied in her all-business tone. I scented Damon and Peter, my best tracker, on the other side and opened the door. Did you find anything? I asked as soon as they entered. Knowing how important this was to me, he immediately started his report. There were no scents of any outside wolves. It is also possible other scents of the city have covered their scents. I can't track where they went or came from, Peter reported, then added, I hate the city. Any scent of our pack members? I asked. Sorry to interrupt Alpha, but it's not fair to doubt our pack members, they are our family, Savannah said. I turned towards her. I am not doubting anyone, this is an investigation. I prefer not to leave any loopholes. Of course, I understand, Savannah replied. The only wolf caught was the one you took down, Alpha. However, after talking to each of the teams, we identified at least 3 other unknown wolf scents. They came pretty close to the compound. But they did not come near enough. Moreover, their scents were old. They would not have been here last night. Damon added. All right, continue the investigation, increase security and surveillance. Check the footage of the cameras installed in the forest. See if you can find anything. Yes, Alpha. They all responded and left. Alice's POV. I awoke in the morning, my head throbbing. Catherine was immediately by my side. Easy. How do you feel? She asked as she helped me sit and lean back against the pillows of the bed. My head hurts. Here, this tea should stop the pain. You do not have any major injuries. Thanks, Luna. She rattled away while I concentrated on the drink, warming my hands. It was some herbal tea. It was not bad, but it was not tasty either. I downed the golden liquid, eager to be rid of it. I leaned back and closed my eyes, breathing deeply, feeling the air fill my head. After a few minutes, the scent of musk and lilac filled me, and my eyes flew open. Someone was watching me. Lucian stood to the side, near the doors, quietly watching me. Catherine quickly padded away. He had showered and dressed in slacks and a white tee, and looked devastatingly handsome. When our eyes met, he smiled softly and approached. He sat near the bed. You are well? He asked, running his hand over my brow, brushing a few wayward strands from my face. I smiled in return for the sweet gesture. Yes, I am alive, thanks to you, I murmured. You were in trouble because of me in the first place. He murmured. It wasn't your fault. Anyone would have lost their temper, had they got a fickle mate like me. No, my behavior was wrong and unpardonable. There are no excuses for being an ass. He said. I was quiet for a few seconds. You have saved me twice, Lucian. I remember everything now, I said. I understood now why Luna chose him as my mate. He was my protector, my guardian, my everything. I was stupid to not see this. I told you so, not to reject him. My wolf said. She was right. Well, Alice, I won't be a jerk anymore. If anything, this incident taught me that I just want to see you safe and happy. I was wrong, we can't force this. He said softly. Wait, what? I stared at his downcast face. What was he talking about? I have been forcing you to stay with me, despite your reluctance. I couldn't even protect you. He said slowly, finally looking up with a sideways glance. I don't understand what you are talking about, I said. He sighed. You were right, we should reject each other, he said, looking into my eyes. I felt my heart shattering. My wolf howled in grief. Lucian. I started to say, only to be interrupted by a knock on the door. Alice. Rick came rushing at me as soon as the door opened. I arrived as soon as I heard. Thanks to Luna, you are safe, he said while hugging me. I am fine, brother, I replied. Is this how you protect your mate, my sister? He snapped, glaring at Lucian. My apologies, Alpha, I accept my mistake, Lucian said stiffly. I am taking you with me, you were supposed to be on a holiday before all this mess started, Rick said looking at me. I am taking away Alice with me, and you won't stop me, Rick warned Lucian. I have no objections, Alpha, I am not good enough to be her mate, Lucian said dejectedly. I am fine, Rick, honestly. Lucian saved my life for the second time. I told my brother. Rick frowned and glanced at Lucian, then me. Second time? He asked. Yes, when Dad died in that hotel fire. Lucian was there. He saved me. I remember everything now. I explained how we met in that burning hotel when we were kids. Rick blinked as if trying to comprehend the information. How did you get back your memory? Rick asked puzzled. I don't know, probably because of the repeated incident related to fire. A doctor might explain it better. I replied. You saw who killed our father? He asked softly. I nodded. Though I did not know anyone by their faces. Rick then turned towards Lucian, he had a much softer demeanor now. Thank you for saving my sister's life. I owe you one, Lucian Blake. I wasn't aware that you were also present in that Alpha meeting, Rick said a little stiffly. I rolled my eyes, I did not understand why my brother hated Lucian. I was 13, and my dad started me early for taking over the Alpha role. I had no idea she was your sister and my future mate. I would have done the same for anyone. Lucian said shrugging. How are you feeling, Alice? Are you strong enough to travel? Linda and everyone else is worried sick, and the twins haven't stopped asking about you. Rick asked. I am fine, Rick, but Lucian and me, we need to sort out a few things, I said turning towards Lucian meaningfully. I don't have any objection. But I am worried about her security. It's the second attempt on her life, Lucian started to say. Which happened on your compound. I can take care of my sister, she was pretty safe at Jade Moon until you dragged her away against her wish. Rick snapped. What do you mean dragged her away? She is my mate. She came here with me as per her wish. Lucian retorted, anger emanating off him. Oh! Stop it, both of you. I finally lost my patience. I don't care what issues you both have, but for God's sake, stop quarreling like kids. I am old enough to make my own decisions. I stood up from the bed and glared at both Lucian and Rick. Both towered over me by at least 1 foot, but it was comical the way they both shut up after my outburst. Rick, I will return with you, but first I need to clarify a few things with Lucian. I turned towards Lucian who had an unreadable expression. Very well, I will wait for you, Rick replied. It was a similar scene again. Rick waited downstairs while Lucian and I were in his study, sitting across the table as if ready for another negotiation. Go ahead, I prompted when neither of us said anything for several minutes. He cleared his throat as if waking up from a daze. Well, as I was saying. I agree with you, we must reject each other. He said stiffly as if fighting with himself. So, you are rejecting me? I could feel a lump in my throat. Lana was restless and mourning. You brought his upon us," she hissed. He did not reply, instead fished out something from his pocket. He opened his palm and revealed the ring. My engagement rings. It was smudged a bit with soot, but after a little cleaning, it would be as good as new. "You found my ring?" I blurted. "The betas found it while dousing the fire." He looked down at his palm. "It survived the fire? Miraculous, isn't it?" he said softly as if talking to himself. "Lucian. Take it." He ignored my remark and placed the ring in my palm. The ring weighed heavy, not due to its physical weight, it was a symbol of my arrogance and stupidity. I closed my hand tightly, hoping to crush it. "So, that's it?" I asked questioningly. He leaned back in his chair and folded his arms. His lips twitched into a slight smile. "Isn't that what you wanted, mate? To be free? I am rejecting you, Alice. You are free to leave. I hope you have a good life. Ex-mate." The impact of those words was so strong, it knocked the wind off my lungs. I placed my hand on my chest, as it was ready to explode with pain. I deserved it. "I am sorry, for everything," I managed to say through the lump which was hurting my throat. "Me too," he said. "That is it." Here I was sitting with a heartache. I should have been happy, this is what I had always wanted. Stay out of this mate business. Instead, what I got in return was a life of loneliness and despair. Lana was so miserable she was not even talking to me. "What about your pack? I mean, what will you say to them?" I was already missing Catherine, Savannah, and Rain with her witty blabbering. "Don't worry about them, I can handle them. They will obey my command," he said with a determined look. I felt hurt. How could he let me go so easily? Then cursed myself for being so selfish. A few hours later, I arrived at the Jade Moon Pack. Rick had gone overboard with security. There was not an inch of campus or a common area that did not have CCTV cameras. It was due to the rogue attacks and intrusions, according to him. "I am so glad you can join us for Christmas," my sister-in-law Linda said, hugging me as I entered the living room. "I am glad to be back as well," I smiled. Another person caught my attention. Someone unexpected. "Aunt Flora? When did you arrive?" She gave me her serene smile, while daintily nibbling her fruit platter and staring at the TV. "Oh, hello dear," she said casually as if I never left London. "Why didn't you tell me Aunt Flora was here?" I asked Rick. "She surprised us as well. She said she is needed here when she suddenly landed 2 days back. I forgot to mention her in all the excitement at the Crimson Shadow," he said while shrugging his shoulders. "Excitement? What happened?" Linda asked. "Nothing serious, we'll talk about that later, love," Rick replied to her and proceeded with her towards the kitchen, asking me to join. I replied I would join them after meeting with Aunt Flora. "Auntie, what are you doing here? I didn't know you were planning a holiday, we could have left London together," I said, casually plopping down next to her. "Oh, I didn't know I would be needed here at that time. And I had to take care of your apartment and the luggage. I have shipped all your stuff and your apartment has been rented out." "What?" I almost shouted. "You did what?" I wanted to knock my head. Was I hearing right? Where am I supposed to live when I go back? Oh. You are not going back, dear. She smiled calmly. Aunt Flora, how could you? Shhh, let me watch my soap opera. It's at a very crucial point. She shushed me and continued watching TV. I was livid with rage, but talking to Auntie was like talking to a wall. She responded only when she wished. I suddenly recalled Lucian's words. Aunt Flora, can I ask something? I asked softly. She responded without removing her eyes from the screen. Are you a witch? I asked cautiously. She turned towards me, her blue eyes had an amused look. Of course, so was your mother. She winked and turned back towards the screen. So, does that make me a witch or something? I asked again. She chuckled and held her palm on my cheeks. You are just a wolf, Alice, a stubborn wolf. I had no idea what that was supposed to mean, but I was relieved. Lucian did not lie to me. Thinking about him gave me another round of depression and I went to my room to cry it out. After a good round of crying, I caught up on my emails and phone messages to distract myself. I had not checked them in ages. There were several frantic voice messages from Mark, which was expected. I needed to talk to him. I was unfair to him as well. Baby, where are you? I am so worried. I am taking the next flight to Florida. I am at the airport. I think I have your brother's address. Call me dear. The voice message said. What no? Mark was coming here. I was not ready to deal with this new problem. I scanned through my emails. He had sent me his flight details. Mark was landing tomorrow. I needed to talk to Rick, or Emma, anyone. Lucian's POV. I was going through the paperwork to catch up on the business and keep myself distracted. My chest was hurting, which was expected. My wolf had been distressed ever since Alice left. He did not understand the human side of my emotions and complications. Come in, I said automatically on hearing the knock. I brought your dinner, you didn't have your lunch, Alpha, Catherine said, laying down the tray. I am not hungry, I replied, reading the same line of the document for the third time. This will not do, Lucian. I know you are missing your mate. That does not mean you start ignoring the food. I might be a lone wolf, and not know much about mates, but I know that, by staying hungry, your mate's not going to come back. Catherine shoved the plate of pasta at me. I smiled and took it from her. She had been like a second mother to me ever since my own was unable to take care of me. She was the one who alerted me about the poison all those years ago and saved my life. I shook my head. I wanted to avoid recalling those terrible days. All right, you win, I replied, taking the plate. She gave a satisfied smile. Catherine, are you happy here? I asked while playing with my fork, poking it aimlessly at my plate. What do you mean? She asked puzzled. I mean, didn't you ever consider getting into a relationship with someone? I hoped I was not crossing the line by asking a rather personal question. You mean other than my mate? She smiled. I nodded sheepishly. No, I have always believed in mate bonds. I think my mate is somewhere out there looking for me. Sometimes, it takes time in finding them. But that is just me. Not everyone thinks like me. Don't you feel lonely? With a family this big? No way. I have so much to do, too many mouths to feed. Who has the time to feel lonely? She chuckled. Good to know that. I wolfed down another fork full of pasta. Catherine, you are one of the few people I trust, hence I am entrusting you with an important job. Please tell the pack members that I have rejected Alice. She is not my mate anymore, nor their Luna. If glares could kill, I would have been a dead man by now. That is how angry she was. What have you done now? Did you hurt her? Why did she leave? How could you do this to your mate? The flurry of accusations would never end. Catherine, listen to me, I have not rejected her. I mean, not the way you are assuming. Consider this as a part of the investigation. Someone from the pack started that fire, and I have to find that person. Oh. Catherine stopped and blinked. I am sorry for my insolence, Alpha, she said, bowing down. It's fine, Catherine, now please spread this rumor, I said. Rumor? She raised an eyebrow. Yes, as a rumor, I just have this feeling that the target was Alice. Once the culprit is assured that she is no longer in the picture, he or she might get lax and give away some clue. I see, she nodded with understanding. I will do as you command, Alpha. Alpha, when is Madame Luna coming back? She asked before leaving. As soon as she starts missing me, I grinned. Alice Anderson, you will beg me to take you back. I smirked. Alice's POV. I was missing Lucian, his touch, his smell, his laugh, his voice, the way he kissed me, the way he held me in bed. I was going wet just thinking about it. So, when is your fiancé arriving? Emma remarked. What? I replied, waking up from my reverie. She smirked. Mark, when is he arriving? I mean what time? Evening 4, I replied absent-mindedly, hugging my pillow. Great. I have booked a hotel for you in the city. Bobby can drive you. No, I don't want anyone with me. I will go alone. I spoke. Rick will raise hell if he finds out, Emma said. I know that is why you need your help me sneak out. It's not that easy, Alice, the security has been tightened. Why can't you just go with Bobby and a few guards? For your safety. Nothing's going to happen to me, don't worry. It is good that Mark has arrived. I had to break up with him anyway. I could not do that on the phone. It would have been too selfish. Emma's face broke into a smile. Oh. You are going to dump him. I mean, sorry, that's sad. She tried keeping a straight face but failed miserably at it. I suppressed my smile. Emma had been asking me to do that right from the first day. Yeah, it sucks, he is an extremely sweet guy, he deserves better. After what happened between Lucian and me, it was technically cheating. I cannot be with him, it would be unfair. I should not have got involved with him in the first place, I said sadly. So, what happened with Lucian? I can see you are still unmarked. She said with a sly smile. I got my heat, a month early. I stopped and closed my eyes, the pain of losing him was too much to bear. And he helped me by giving me, release. I could feel a blush creeping up my neck. Oh. This sounds good, but that doesn't answer my question. We didn't have X if that's what you are curious about, I said hastily. Wow. How did you survive the heat without it? She asked with a naughty grin. I told you he gave me. Well, he has an exceptionally talented tongue. I narrated everything which transpired in the cabin, and him finally rejecting the mate bond. How could he do that? It's so unfair, Emma gasped. I don't blame him, it's all my fault. If only I had listened to my wolf and you, I would not have been left alone, and jobless. I added. What? Emma asked surprised. I am going to resign. I can't work with Mark after all this, I said dejectedly. What if he refuses to break up? What? Why would he do that? Mark doesn't know anything about you. What are you going to say? You can't just leave him heartbroken. She was right, I needed an excuse. I will tell him the truth, that I cheated on him. Emma's mouth fell open. That's brutal. I sighed and covered my face. I am a terrible person, Emma. I have hurt two of the best guys I have ever met. Both loved me, yet I hurt them both. I am so stupid. I don't know what to do. I cried. Come here. Emma said, spreading her arms. I rested my head on her shoulder. I would have preferred a broader, more muscular arms of Lucian, but that was not possible anymore, and I was tired of crying. But that was my fate now. One thing which I have learned from life is that no matter how many hardships it throws your way, it will still give you a surprise. Your mate was your surprise. Are you going to just let him go? Emma asked, after a while. I broke the hug and looked at her. What do you mean? Don't let him get away so easily, fight for him. She winked at me. I got off Emma's car, which she had lent me, and stared at the hotel entrance. Mark and I were supposed to meet for the dinner. Bracing myself, I walked into the lobby. Mark was waiting for me and rushed to hug me the moment I entered. I closed my eyes, this was going to be hard. I missed you, babe. He bent his head to kiss me, and I stepped back at an inhuman speed. Lana growled, and I pushed her down, clenching my fists. After Lucian, I could not stand the touch of another man, not even Mark. Whoa! What's wrong? He looked surprised. Nothing, I have booked this exclusive place, and they would cancel if we don't reach on time. Let us go. I lied. So, where are we headed? He asked. A local restaurant called Silver Moon. They have wonderful food. Oh, okay, he replied. I had no idea what to say, so I drove the short distance to the restaurant in uneasy silence, while Mark talked. Do you know how worried I was when I couldn't reach you? Where in the god-forsaken place does your aunt live? It's a bit remote, that is why I asked you to check into a hotel, in the city. Does that mean I won't be meeting your family? Family? Why do you want to meet my family? God, this was hard. Alice, is something wrong? I turned towards him. We have reached, let's eat first, then we'll talk." I gave a pleasant smile. "Alice, where is your ring?" Mark asked, his face set in a grim expression. "Oops, sorry, it's in my bag." I fished out the ring, and put it on. He looked at me with narrowed eyes. "Can we have dinner now? I am starving." I spoke. "Please," I repeated. The random restaurant which I had chosen was good, but it was the most awkward dinner of my life. We barely talked, and Mark was upset. I spent the entire 20 minutes thinking about how to broach the subject. Was it appropriate to break up during dinner or after it? Perhaps later, I was going to break his heart. The least I could do was, let him eat in peace. "You are going to break up with me, aren't you?" Mark said as soon as we were out and walked through the alley towards my car. I was supposed to say something, but I could think of anything. "Mark, let me explain," I squeaked. He sighed and shook his head in disappointment. "I am sorry, Mark, I know I have hurt you. I need to tell you this, Mark, you need to understand." "No, Alice, it's not relevant at all," he snapped angrily and turned into another alley. "Why won't you listen to me?" I was on the verge of tears. "Fine, tell me." He folded his hands and leaned back against a wall. I took a deep breath. "You are a great guy, Mark, and I love you. But then I met someone. Trust me, I did not want this to happen. But I could not stop myself from getting involved. I am a terrible person. I cannot be with you, Mark, you deserve better." "I am sorry." "Have you slept with him?" he said in anger tone. I was not sure what to say. God, why was this so hard? I nodded. He was quiet for a moment. "Is that why you had been avoiding me? Everything was perfect until you left for your vacation. You had been lying to me all this while." He looked hurt, and I could not stop the guilt which was inundating me. "I am sorry, Mark. Please believe me, I wanted to avoid doing this to you." "Do you love him?" he suddenly asked. Did I love Lucian? Did I even have a choice? My wolf was already in love with him. "Yes, I love him," I said through tears. "Did you ever love me, Alice?" The pain in his voice was tearing my heart. "I do love you, Mark, just not in the way you want. I am sorry. Please forgive me." With shaking hands, I took out the ring from my hand and passed it to him. He stared at it for a few seconds, then took it from me. "Well, I guess we are done now," he said, running his hand through his hair. "Hope you have a happy life and see you after your vacation," he said and started walking briskly. "Mark, wait," I shouted. He turned to face me. But I was not looking at him. I caught shadows moving in the narrow sidelines. Something isn't right. They were werewolves and I could smell the danger. "Mark, stop!" I shouted. He looked puzzled. In the next moment, I dashed up to him and grabbed his hand. "Run!" Before he could utter a word, I was running with Mark huffing to catch up with me. As expected, those wolves followed us. "You run like the wind," Mark commented as we stopped at a dead end to catch our breaths. "Shhh, they can hear us, they could even catch our scents." I cursed myself for not bringing enough scent masking vials. "Mark, Listen carefully. We are going to run towards my car, stay behind me. Alice. What's going on? He asked bewildered. I spotted them approach us, they had shifted into hybrids. What are they? Mark whispered, terrified. Run, get back to the car. I shouted, throwing him my keys. I had no choice. Tearing out of my clothes, I shifted and howled in fury as the wolves poured out of the entrance of the streets. I heard Mark's terrifying scream, then lunged into the lead wolf with a furious growl, ripping his shoulder apart. 2 wolves moved to flank me while I fought. The wolves were fast, but not as fast as an alpha. The next thing I knew, a brown wolf had reached Mark, who was glued to his spot in shock. I caught its tail and pulled him off Mark before he could snap at his forearm. I screamed in pain as teeth ripped into my side. Instead of trying to pull away, I leaned down and bit him across his nose and jaw. He whined in pain but did not let go, so I used my paws to give him a good kick. That did the trick. He let go, and I crushed my jaws into the other wolf who had attacked Mark, ripping off his throat. There was a growl from behind me, and I turned to see another wolf launching himself towards me, jaws open for my neck. Before he could reach me, another wolf jumped in front of me. He was a huge black wolf, the biggest I had ever seen, with a white streak down the center of his chest. His eyes were bright green, and he blinked a few times as he tilted his head to the side and sniffed deeply. Mate! I thought. In my wolf form, I wanted to lick and jump all over him. But there were more important things to consider than petting. I realized I had never seen him in his wolf form before. He was simply magnificent. I dropped to the ground, as Lucian caught the attacking wolf. It howled in agony as his momentum split his guts open, spraying blood on me. He landed hard and did not get up. I looked over to where Mark was holding his ground, cowering back into the wall against 2 wolves. Running forward, I distracted one long enough for it to get his throat and rip it out. The other one was tackled by one of Lucian's beta. I kept my eyes on the threats in front of me. Mark whined behind me and struggled to his feet just as there was a loud crunch. Mark had fallen holding his hand. The black wolf stilled, then turned around and ran back towards me. I kept my attack pose before the 2 wolves which had injured Mark. Before they could reach me, one had its throat ripped out and the others were all dead. I could see head injuries and bones sticking out. Lucian had taken care of them. I looked back at Mark, who was cradling his broken arm. No, please don't let it be a bite, I thought as I approached Mark. Get away from me, you freak! He shouted. Mark, it's me, I said gently, but of course, he could not hear me. That terrified look in his eyes broke me. The fighting and snapping continued behind us. Thankfully Lucian was taking care of them. I could have licked and cured Mark's injuries if only he would let me. Our saliva has healing properties which can cure minor injuries. But he was unaware that the brown wolf was me. I heard the diesel engine fire up and accelerate forward. Sparing a glance at the road, I could see one of the roughs in the driver's side. The wolves started to run and pile into the truck as Lucian and his team chased them. I shifted into my human form as Mark's eyes grew wide as saucers. I was splattered with blood. I knelt next to Mark, who cowered back in fear. Please, don't be scared. I will not hurt you. I can cure you, don't touch me. He winced in pain. Mark, please, listen to me. I started to say. Get away from me, you devil! He shouted. He was bleeding out rapidly, his eyes were drooping and locked on mine, then he gave one long breath and fainted. No. I grabbed his head before it hit the concrete street. I felt a gentle tap on my shoulder. Lucian shifted and had walked up behind me and put his hand on my back. We need to leave before the human police arrive, come on. Mark is injured, I whispered. I felt his jaws tense. He is not bitten, he'll be fine. Don't worry. He nodded at his betas, and soon they were in action. I dressed in the sweats which were thrown at me. Mark was being bundled and loaded into one of their SUVs. Where are we heading, Alpha? Damon asked. Jade Moon Pack, please take us to my pack. I said before Lucian could reply. Please, I pleaded while looking at Lucian. It's nearer, I can't let Mark die. I saw a flash of fury in his eyes, then he turned towards Damon. We'll go to the Jade Moon. Alice, he is bleeding, I need to heal him, I said frantically as Mark's shirt soaked with his blood. No. Lucian boomed behind me. He pointed his finger at Damon. You heal him. Damon groaned, but he could not defy his alpha and started to lick Mark's wound with his long tongue, reluctantly, of course. You come with me, Lucian held my arm and led me to another SUV. Take off your shirt. He ordered. What? I stammered. He rolled his eyes. You are injured, let me heal you. Oh. I realized my mistake, I am fine. Werewolves can heal rapidly, however, some deep cuts do require healing. Your sweatshirt is soaked with blood. Let me heal you, Alice. He said a little softly. I entered the SUV and took off my shirt. Strong arms wrapped around my shoulders and pulled me to his chest, my back to his front. I felt the angry pants of air he took as he held me. It took me a minute to realize, he was Ivid. He dipped his face over my back and arm, licking my wound with his coarse tongue. The sensation was wonderful, and I felt tingling everywhere he licked. He slowly worked his way down my stomach, stopping to lick at places I knew there were scratches and claw marks. I jumped a little when I felt his cold tongue. I moaned involuntarily and immediately put my hands over my mouth. This was the worst moment to get turned on. I think I am good, I said abruptly. His eyes remained glued on me for a full 10 seconds before he got off me, and I pulled on my shirt. I am sorry, he sighed. The sight of your bruises brought my wolf to the surface. He just wanted to help. Thank you, I said genuinely, you saved me again. This was getting old, me being the damsel distress and Lucian the knight in shining armor. I had never been so accident-prone before. He just shrugged. How did you find me? I asked, as his cars started moving towards the highway. The restaurant you had dinner at belongs to me, he said casually. It was not surprising, was there anything he did not own in the town? Are you mad at me? Yes, I am holding on to my sanity by a thread, so please don't do anything stupid again. He snapped. I nodded meekly and looked out of the window. I heard him calling my brother and telling me my whereabouts. I was screwed. Rick was livid. I had never seen him so angry before. Mark was in the infirmary, where the healers were patching him up. Lucian stood at my other side of the study, glaring down at me. He was angry or frustrated, I could not tell which. Being next to him in the car felt safe, earlier. I was not sure about it now. You didn't answer me, Rick said. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question, I said. Rick narrowed his eyes. What were my orders? To stay in the compound. And I disobeyed you, I said meekly. Rick was in his full alpha mode. Why? Rick, I didn't have a choice. Mark was in the town and I couldn't bring him here. He does not know anything about us. I mean, he didn't. Alice, do you know what it would do to me to lose you? Do you understand the pain I would feel? You have any idea how many sacred laws you have broken? Rick said. I looked up, surprised. The laws. Has she always been like this? Lucian asked from the other side. He had been watching us like a hawk. Oh. You have no idea. She used to scream and raise hell until her demands were met. Her tantrums are pack legend. Rick said. I figured that much. She is headstrong, Lucian smirked. Headstrong? That is an understatement. She refuses to follow any order or authority once her heart is set on something. Rick added. No wonder you sent her away. Lucian quipped, shaking his head. Now you understand. Totally. Lucian looked at Rick and nodded. Hey, stop talking nonsense about me, both of you, I grumbled. My brother and my mate were finally seeing eye to eye over how ill-behaved I was. I am not finished yet, Rick warned. Explain it to me, he said, what made you disregard my orders? His face was a mask, his eyes hard and unyielding. I was aware of two sets of ears listening for a good answer. I licked my lips and fumbled for a reply that would not further inflame him. It was a mistake. I wanted to end things amicably with Mark. He was worried about me and came here to check on me. I just wanted to return his ring and send him off. I never anticipated an attack on us. I trailed off, not sure what else to say. I was dying of guilt over Mark. I felt Lucian's breath quicken for a few seconds when I mentioned my breakup. What? I thought you had already ended things with your human boyfriend when you left with Lucian. Rick said, glancing at Lucian, who just shrugged. It's complicated, I replied, throwing a warning look at Lucian. Rick sighed, look, I don't care about your personal affairs. You have broken about 50 pack rules, and I can't let this go. I will have to punish you, Alice. Rick said grimly. I understand, I replied glumly. As for Mark, he saw you turn, we can't let him go. He would have to be either turned or killed. Rick added. My heart thudded. No. Don't do that. He won't say anything to anyone. I will talk to him. Please, brother, just let him go. You know the law, Alice, he can jeopardize our entire existence. We can't let him go. Gosh! What had I done? Werewolves and all other supernatural beings stay away from humans. It is for our mutual safety. If any human accidentally stumbles upon us, they must either leave their previous life and become a wolf or die. Mark had a family and a life. He did not even belong to this country. It was unfair to take all that away from him. Rick, please, just for once, he doesn't belong here. He would fly back to London. Who would believe him back there? It is not going to affect us at all. Let him go. Rick's face softened a little. It's an enormous risk, which I refuse to forego. This is the law. I can do nothing, Alice. My hands felt cold. I rubbed them in anxiety. This cannot be happening. I could not ruin Mark's life due to my stupidity. A knock interrupted my thoughts. Rick called in whoever was on the other side. Alpha, the patient has gained consciousness, and he is hysterical. 1 Omega came in and announced. Mark has woken up. I stood up from my seat. Rick, I must see him, I said, aware of the scowl which appeared on Lucian's face. Of course, you may see him, Rick said, waving his hand. I ran towards the infirmary. I heard his shouts before I reached his room. His hand was heavily bandaged and harassed looking. Emma and Dr. Jonas were trying to calm him down while he struggled to get out of his bed. Let me go, you all are monsters. Mark, I said, approaching. His eyes widened in fear. Stay away from me, you all are despicable monsters. I could feel tears sting my eyes. Mark, I am not going to hurt you, no one is. I am just trying to help you. By killing me, eating me up, or sacrificing me in some demonic ritual. I do not trust any of you. Stay back. He cowered in his bed. He has been like this ever since he woke up. He is not dealing well with this at all, Emma murmured. I took a cautious step towards him. Mark, listen to me, we have known each other for 2 years. Did I ever harm you? I am not a monster, Mark. Please listen to me. You were always weird, Alice. Your unnatural strength, speed, and appetite. I should have known. You are not human. I don't want anything to do with a monster like you. Don't you dare disrespect my mate, Lucian roared from behind me. I turned towards him, startled. When did he arrive? Mark's eyes looked frantically from me to Lucian. Oh, so, this is what it's all about? Well, I am glad you found another monster like yourself because I don't want to see you ever. He spat. Okay, enough now, I am giving him a sedative. He needs to calm down, Dr. Jonas, the pack doctor commented. I looked on tearfully while Mark was put to sleep. With a heavy heart, I walked out of the infirmary. Hey, are you okay? Lucian's soft voice felt good. What have I done? I collapsed on a chair and covered my face with my hands. Well, sorry to say, but your British boyfriend is an ass. What did you see in him? Is it because of his accent? I have heard girls love the British accent. Lucian snapped. It's not his fault, he didn't know, I said through a spate of tears. He knows you for 2 years and claims to love you. In that case, he must accept you with all your traits, otherwise, it's not love. I removed my hand from my face and stared at him. It's a big shock, for a human. So, I won't blame him. I explained. He snorted. Your mother was a human, your sister-in-law was a human, did they freak out like him? Possibly, I never asked Rick, I said. It's not about you being a wolf and him being a human. It is about trust and emotion. I can understand a human freaking out on coming upon a shapeshifter. But you have been with him for 2 years. You never tried to harm him. You saved his life today, by endangering yours. Despite that, he called you a monster. I felt my heart flutter, and I placed my hand on his. Thank you, for making me feel better. He smiled and squeezed my hand. Alice's POV: the problem remains, though, I don't want Mark to turn and stay here. He doesn't belong here. I spoke. Lucian's lips curled into a smile. I don't want him to stay, either. What should I do? Rick won't listen to me. I lamented. He is doing what any alpha would do. Our existence can be threatened if he speaks. And seeing his outburst, he would not remain quiet. He might also go insane due to the shock. Lucian said with a serious demeanor. Are you suggesting? No. I cannot let him die. I looked at him horrified. He is important to me. Lucian narrowed his eyes. Well, do you want to save him or not? I do. Then don't say stuff like that, otherwise, I would kill him before Rick does. He snapped. I am dealing with a serious issue, while all you care about is your stupid jealousy. I retorted. While we glared at each other, Aunt Flora's voice caught my attention. Hello, dear, who is this young man? She asked as she approached us through the white hospital corridor. Auntie, what are you doing here? I asked, but she was not looking at me. She was smiling at Lucian. He was introducing himself to her, and she was already charmed. I rolled my eyes. Well, you never told me your mate was so handsome. She gushed. We are not mates anymore, Auntie, we broke up, I said immediately. She laughed. You can't break a mate bond, you are soulmates. She said serenely. Anyway, I have a feeling that I am needed here, so I walked in. An idea struck me. Auntie, how does one become a keeper? There are several ways. The most important is that a human must gain the trust of supernatural beings and help them out in some situation. They are chosen as keepers. Like Mr. Harrison, I said. Mr. Harrison was the pack solicitor. He was a human and an old friend of my dad. He helped with the legal stuff. I know what you are thinking, Alice. To be a keeper, Mark needs to stay here around the pack. He cannot go back. Provided, he agrees to become a keeper. I won't let that happen, Lucian's eyes flashed with anger. Why do you even care? We are not mates anymore. I glared back at him. Excuse me, but what's the problem here? Aunt Flora interrupted while Lucian and I were having another glaring competition. Mark is here, Aunt, and he saw me shifting. I explained the entire situation to Aunt Flora. Oh. That poor boy, I warned you, he would end up heartbroken. And with broken bones as well if he stays, Lucian interjected, earning another glare from me. Well, how long has it been since he saw everything? Aunt Flora asked. I don't know, a couple of hours, maybe. It was late night now, and we had dinner at around 7. So, he needs to forget the last couple of hours. That can be done, she said pleasantly. I am sorry, I don't quite follow you, Auntie. You are forgetting I am a witch, she said with a twinkle in her eyes. Your aunt is brilliant, Lucian commented, with a satisfied smile. What are you both talking about? I flipped my head between them, confused. There are spells which can make people forget a certain period of their life. I can do that on Mark. That way he would not remember you like a wolf, nor the scuffle which he saw. Really? Is that possible? I asked excitedly. This was good if Rick agreed to it. Generally, I don't do these kinds of stuff, and it's not recommended. Memory spells are dangerous. One wrong step can wipe out the entire memories of a person. Also, if we use it very frequently, then wolves might become complacent regarding their secrecy. We can't go around wiping memories of humans who saw werewolves. But seeing the current situation, this would be best for him. Aunt Flora explained. Great. Let's talk to Rick, I said. This was perfect. If Mark forgot about that attack, he would not have to turn and stay. How would you explain the time lapse and the injuries? I asked. There were still some loopholes in this idea. He got drunk and had a minor accident. That's what he will think. Aunt Flora said with a wink. Is that possible? I asked. Anything is possible, Alice. Aunt Flora chuckled. Lucian's POV. I had no idea what spells or potions Aunt Flora prepared. I was happy that I would not end up killing that Mark. Alice would never forgive me if I did. No matter how much that human infuriated me. I had to let him go. Another question was nagging me. Why was she the target of 3 consecutive attacks? I could understand her kidnapping as a random incident, the fire as a possible accident. But the third attack on my mate was a confirmed foul play. It was almost early morning when I returned to Crimson Shadow Pack. I had started dreaming of Alice the moment I hit the bed, recalling the feel of her soft body against mine. The room still contained her scent. She wrapped her arms around me, and a moan escaped my throat. Yes, baby. I whispered. Something was wrong. She smelled different. I jumped up and pushed the body off the bed. Eliza was sent flying off and fell across the room. I was so angry that I could barely speak for several minutes. My wolf was practically frothing at the mouth in fury. What are you doing in my bed? I screamed. Her sight in my room, at Alice's place, infuriated me. How dare you enter uninvited? Do you know it is a breach of security? She got up gracefully. She was dressed in a scanty dress of pink lace and satin. That increased my anger. I just wanted to make you feel good, she whined from the floor. Get out! Get out immediately! I yelled. I know your mate is gone alpha, you have rejected her. I narrowed my eyes. So? I don't remember inviting you to my bed. I just thought. She mumbled. We were over years ago. I will not tolerate this behavior, irrespective of being with or without a mate. I caught her arm and dragged her towards the door. If you ever pull something like this again, you will be kicked out from the pack. I am your alpha and you will remember that. I was furious. I knew of her ambitions, but this was low even for her. Throwing her out of the room, I slammed the door shut. I could not sleep anymore. Grabbing her clothes and bed sheets, I threw them on the floor. Her odor permeated the room, and I was unable to stand it. I called for someone to collect the offending items. Alpha, Savannah said as she bowed her head. Hello Savannah, you didn't have to come here, you could have sent any Omega, I said while taking off the pillow covers. I like to serve you, Alpha, may I take those for you? Yes, thank you, I said as she picked up the things. I heard about Alice, she said softly. I just stared at her. It's very unfortunate, I hope you feel better soon. She added. Thank you, Savannah. I will bring you up some new sheets in a moment, Alpha. She left the room. I ran my hands through my hair, then placed them on the balcony. A few Omegas arrived with fresh sheets and remade the bed. I now knew that attacks on Alice had nothing to do with our mate bond. She would not have been attacked in the alley otherwise. It was time to bring her back. I am sorry for everything, Mark. Have a safe trip, I said to Mark while sending him off at the airport. After Aunt Flora had done her spell, he was moved to a human hospital under the supervision of the pack doctor. He woke up groggy, remembering nothing of the wolf attack. I fought with Rick and Lucian to let me stay with Mark. That was the least I could do for him. He was declared fit to travel after a few days. Alice, it's okay. I admit I was upset, but probably we are not meant to be. I hope we'll stay friends, he said with a smile. It was so much better than the fearful and hateful looks he had given earlier. I am not returning, Mark, I said softly. That's a shame, you were one of the best in my team. He spoke. I belong here, and I don't want to make things awkward. I understand, you can mail your resignation. I will take care of it. He spoke. Take care, Mark, and hugged him. It was hard to describe what I felt. Mark was sweet, and I did love him once upon a time. Perhaps, if I were a human, in different circumstances we could have had our happily ever after. I was glad I was able to save him from an unwanted fate. Memory magic is not practiced usually, and it took a lot of convincing for Rick to allow it. I owed Aunt Flora. I also had a few questions for her. There was no need to hug him, Lucian said through clenched teeth as I walked out of the airport. I was not allowed to go out on my own. Bobby and several betas from both the packs had followed us while I drove to the airport. Lucian, don't test my patience, why are you here? I said warily. You can't be left alone, you are a trouble magnet. I had to make sure that you were safe, he said, putting on his sunglasses as we approached the parking lot. He looked good. I glanced at numerous cars parked around mine, being filled with several betas and warriors from both the packs. I shook my head in annoyance. Come with me, he grabbed my arm and pulled me towards another car. Hey, I have my car, I protested. He grabbed my keys and threw them randomly at one of his betas, who caught them. Now you don't, now come on, he pulled in one of the car's passenger's side and got in at the driver's side. I looked around. He usually had someone driving him around, so it was a surprise that he was doing it himself. "You will drive?" I asked. "Yes, is that a problem?" He turned towards me. "No, but aren't you going home?" I asked. "Rick has asked me to be at the trial," he replied. "Oh. Yes, the trial. I was supposed to be punished for breaking the pack rules and defying the Alpha. Being the Alpha's sister did not mean I could get away with anything. It would set a bad example in the pack." I leaned back and glanced at Lucian through my downcast eyes. He was dressed in a suit today and looked hot enough to cause a mini riot among a small group of females. "How are you feeling, Alice?" he asked, almost giving me a stroke. I was expecting a taunt, not a concerned query. "I am fine," relieved actually. As if a huge weight is off my chest. I know I sound selfish, but this engagement was more of a burden on me. I should have refused right away when Mark proposed. Somewhere in my heart, I always knew we were not right for each other, yet I led him on and created this whole mess. I took a deep breath. I am a terrible person. He stopped driving and looked at me. "Come here," his soft voice said. I blinked, confused as he leaned over to take me in a comforting hug. The soft fabric of his suit brushed against my cheek, and that familiar musky scent permeated around me. "You are a wonderful woman, Alice. Everyone makes mistakes, acts selfishly at times. But the fact that you accepted your mistake and tried to rectify it, that is what makes you incredible. You care for others, Alice, and try to protect them. You are a true alpha, Alice, never forget that." His hand smoothed my hair as he spoke those comforting words. He never failed to surprise me. Instead of angry outbursts here he was comforting me. I would have loved to remain pressed in his arms, but the angry honks of the irate drivers forced us to pray apart. "Move on, you are blocking the driveway," someone yelled from that back. "Darn it! I should not have driven today," he cursed. I chuckled, as he took control of the wheels again. I took a deep breath before entering the brightly lit dining area. That is where Rick was going to hold the trial. I was glad the crowd was smaller than expected. I walked in nervously towards the front. Lucian and his gang of betas were sitting on the left side. His long legs crossed over each other, arms folded, while he looked around with a bored expression. Rick, Linda, Beta Jackson, Bobby, Emma, even Aunt Flora was present there. Rick motioned me to take a seat, and I perched nervously near a chair. Then Rick stood up and spoke loudly, "We are all gathered here today to deal with a disturbing matter. Alice Anderson, my sister, defied my orders and endangered our pack and our existence. Fortunately, the problem has been dealt with. However, that doesn't relieve her of her mistakes." I chewed my lips nervously. "Do you have anything to say, Alice Anderson?" Rick looked at me. His face was set in a hard mask. "I accept my mistake, Alpha. I disobeyed you. I deserve whatever punishment you will choose for me," I said softly. "Who else helped you?" Rick asked. I contemplated my answer. Rick could easily find out that Emma had helped me sneak out. Lying would make things worse. But I could not put my friend in trouble. I helped her, Emma interrupted suddenly. Her mate Bobby turned towards her with a furious expression. This is not good, not at all good. I thought. But I forced her to help me, she didn't want to help, I added. I heard a snort from Lucian, he was looking at the proceedings with an amused expression. I wondered why he was here. The pack members were not happy. I could hear whispers and dissent. I am sorry Alpha, I manipulated Emma and forced her to lend me her car. That's not true. I helped as per my free will, I booked the hotel for Mark and helped her sneak out. Emma interjected, cutting me off. Emma. Oh. Stop it, both of you. I will decide who is responsible for this, it's not a courtroom. Rick roared irritated. Wolves do not follow democracy, an alpha's word is the law. Our trials are short, and without any lawyers. I went quite immediately and bowed in submission. Emma, you will stay confined in the cabins beyond the lake for 1 month. You will not interact with other pack members, including your mate. You will not be welcomed nor allowed to participate in any pack activities or runs during that period. Is that clear? Emma's eyes moistened a little at this harsh punishment. Wolves are very social, even more than humans. It is hard for them to stay away from their pack and their mates. I am an exception. But not everyone is weird like me. It would be torture for her to stay away from body for such a long duration. I looked at her apologetically. She gave me a reassuring smile. Bobby was upset, but he could not defy his alpha. As for you, Alice, Rick sighed, I don't know what to do with you. He said softly, as if to himself. Technically, you are no more part of this pack. I looked up, surprised. When was I banished? I am still connected with you, though, I said. I heard a cough and turned towards Lucian. That's because we have not yet completed our mate bond, sweetheart. You are mine now. He said with a slick smile. Rick nodded. This is why I called you here Alpha Lucian, she is your mate, so her punishment should be meted by you. I am sorry about not protecting her and endangering your mate. Wait, what? I started to say. I am sorry for the inconvenience because of my mate, Alpha Rick. I will make sure that she is punished. Suitably, he said with a slight smirk. I could sense Linda, Emma, and a few other ladies giving a smug smile. What was happening? Very well, we are done here. You all may leave. Rick announced. The pack members started to leave, while I sat dumbfounded. Lucian's POV I was sitting in Rick's study while he paced around tensed. Let me make one thing clear, just because you are my sister's mate it doesn't mean I have forgotten the past. He growled, stopping for a moment. Fair enough, I replied, is that why you have called me here? His expressions changed and he ran his hand through his hair. I noticed he was nothing like Alice, he was blonde, with blue eyes, whereas Alice was a brunette. They did have the same nose though. No, there is something you should know. You see Alice is special. Don't we all agree with that? She is a feisty one. I smirked. Watch out, you are talking about my sister. He warned. I am sorry, please proceed. I laughed, holding up my hand. Our mother was a human who was also a witch. I was already aware of it, I nodded. It was a pretty unique occurrence. When my mother decided to leave her coven and become a wolf, she not only left her humanity, but she also gave up her power. You see, wolves cannot be witches. However, my mom gave in to the mate bond and decided to give up her powers to become a wolf for my dad. It didn't go well with her coven leaders and few witches. Rick proceeded to sit on the opposite side of the table. They opposed it. However, it did not deter my mother. Then I was born, and then Alice. Alice is special because she has the blood of a witch and a wolf. I was taken aback. I never considered the fact that being a mixed wolf would make Alice special. But so are you. You both have the same parents. So, what makes Alice so unique? She cannot be a witch? Right? I asked. No, she is not, but her blood is powerful. She would bring great power to whoever mates with her. Witches inherit their power from their mother, just like warlocks do it from their fathers. I do not have that unique power, but Alice does. That's interesting, so why are you telling me all this? And what's her superpower? This was interesting. It's important because this is the reason for the pack war which happened all those years ago. She has no powers as such other than being a powerful wolf. But there are superstitions around her type. That such mates bring great power for the alpha. He said solemnly. I looked at him aghast. Few alphas wanted her as their mate, some wanted her for her blood. To make them powerful through blood magic. There were several attacks on the pack. Then during the Alpha Conference, all those years some alphas tried to capture her. I knew about it. My father was one of them, thanks to the manipulations of his beta. As a mate? She was just a child. How sick! I could barely conceal my rage. He nodded his head grimly. The biggest threat was from the coven leader called Regina. She wanted Alice. Although my mother had mortally wounded her, she has not been heard since. The threat was still there. I was 17 when I took over the pack. I could not keep her safe. Then Aunt Flora offered to take away Alice with her, so that I could focus on managing the pack. And your mother didn't die of just a heartbreak? I asked. He nodded. That fight made her weak. Spells don't work on us, but a few can cause severe injuries. Our mother couldn't survive that. I am sorry to hear that. So that is why she was sent away. Everything made sense now. It was for her and the pack's safety. But I should have called her back earlier. Once the situation had improved. She never learned to stay with the pack. She is more human than a wolf. Rick added. I had already observed that. Does she know about all this? Rick shook his head. No, she already blames herself for our father's death. If she comes to know that she is a threat to her pack or anyone associated with her, she would be broken and devastated. So just be patient with her. I was touched by his concerns for his sister. Don't worry, I will take good care of her. She must become my Luna after all. Do you think these recent attacks on Alice is because of that? The witches or some alphas could be after her? I asked. Possibly, I won't rule out that possibility. Alpha Adam Connor has been sending me proposals to get her as his mate for years, Rick said with a hint of anger and frustration. Alpha Adam? That old fellow! I said angrily. Wolves were still wolves to some extent. Fighting over mates was still common. I clenched my fists in anger. I will keep her safe, don't worry. She is my mate after all, and you understand the mate pull well. Rick nodded in agreement and a flash of anger passed through his eyes. We had a history, which did not concern our father's involvement in the pack war. It involved his mate, Linda. Well, I guess I should be leaving now. I stood up and offered my hand for a handshake. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.